Having a crush on somebody can drive human beings to do some crazy things. And if that crush doesn't reciprocate the same feelings, it can lead us down a dark path. Welcome to the world of Scum Wish, where it shows us how toxic unrequited love can be. So before I start all this, I'm going to tell you that there's going to be anime spoilers. A lot of anime spoilers. So if you are going to watch this anime and you don't want to be spoiled, click off the video now and watch the anime, because I'm going in depth with a lot of stuff, because I got to talk about how toxic these characters are, bro, because they're very, very toxic. And I'm talking about you, Akane. You're toxic. You're very toxic. So Scum Wish has some of the most toxic relationships I've ever seen in anime, and I mean very, very toxic. How they're toxic is all these relationships are built. So all the relationships are basically built off unrequited love, where you have one person that has all these feelings for another person, but they can't get with that person. So then you have other people that get together because they can't get with that person. So then it creates a whole lot of super toxic environments, and the relationships are very toxic, especially as they start to imagine that they're with the person that they really want to be with, or there's other toxics to it. Like there's ones where people are getting used because of another person that they know they can't get with this person, so they use them because they like them, and like it gets very, very toxic, and like it's super toxic. Like it's some of the most toxic relationships. Like if you were in real life, bro, these would be like some very toxic relationships. Like they'd be talking on Twitter about how toxic these are, because trust me, they're very like the main reason why they do all this, because they're scared to be alone, or they're scared to admit their feelings that they actually like somebody, and that drives them to get into these toxic relationships, because you know loneliness can make humans do a lot of crazy things, and like because we don't want to feel alone. No human wants to be alone, especially like you don't want to die alone, be alone. So that's the main reason why in this anime they get in relationships any type of way, because they just don't want to feel alone, or they're too scared to just admit that they like somebody. And this anime is the perfect example of just because you like somebody doesn't mean they have the same feelings. This anime has a lot of characters that are toxic, and like I'm gonna go over each character, like who's toxic, but this anime also is a very good example of what unrequited love can do to us, especially humans, because a lot of us feel that way, where we actually like somebody but that person doesn't like us back, so then we feel some type of way. And this anime does break it down very well, because it goes through all the different characters and what they all do. So I'm gonna talk about the different characters. So there's a lot of different ones, but the first character I'm gonna talk about, her name is Akane. She's a teacher, and she might be the biggest, most toxic person in this whole show. Cause one, she has this thing where she likes to have sex with a lot of men, and hearing that, you could already think like there's no problem, like there's nothing wrong with women having a lot of sex with a lot of men. It's just what she does is very toxic. She literally uses the men. So the way she is toxic and the way she uses the men is that she'll have sex with them just because she wants to get attention, and also she has this weird thing where she likes taking men away from other women. So like let's say you have this girl that likes this guy, she will go in and scoop the guy up just because she wants to make the other girl suffer, saying like, yo, I can take him anytime. So like it's very toxic what she does. She's super toxic. And also through this show she does a lot of toxic stuff. And also one of the main characters, that name is Hanabi, she wants to basically teach her how to be a hoe, because one, she's taking the person that Hanabi likes, who's like her brother figure. And also there's Moogie, who's another main character that likes Akane, because it used to be his tutor, and she plays with his heart and emotions, and it's just like very toxic, because she's playing with so many people's emotions, and she wants to have sexual relations and all this type of stuff, and it's crazy. Especially with Moogie, bro, she plays him like a fiddle. Cause like there's one point in the anime, bro, where she literally acts like she has morals, when she's like, oh, I hope nobody sees, because this is I'm a teacher and I'm a student, I could get in trouble. But then she proceeds to still talk to Moogie and even have sexual relations with Moogie, and it's just like, wow, as still leading him on, thinking that he has a chance, even though Moogie does realize that he doesn't. It's just like, bro, it's very toxic, super toxic. I'm like, bro, why? Why did they make this super toxic character? Like she literally thrives off of hurting other women and hurting men. But I mean, she gets better throughout the show, because she's gonna have somebody that accepts her, but still she's very toxic with she's been doing this for so long that it just feels natural to her, and like she just feels like it's super easy and all that. And like she doesn't feel anything when she's with these men. She just wants their attention, because she knows that she can get their attention, and she knows that all men really want is just sex from her. So she's just using them like that, and it's just like, okay, it's like, wow, like this is really what you're doing. But okay, I honestly think that the reason why Akane is so toxic is just because of the way she grew up, and she just always wanted to seek attention and all that. Because like in the anime, they show a little backstory of her when she's in high school, and it shows that she's always just done this because she just wants to take away from other people to see, because she just wants to feel alive. It makes her feel alive when she does this, when she feels she can just take something from somebody else, and she just eats off of all that. She just honestly was toxic from the beginning, and she tries to get Hanabi to be toxic, but I'll talk about Hanabi in a little bit and why she really doesn't become toxic. So next one I want to talk about is Sanae, and she's Hanabi's best friend. And so she's a very interesting one because she's toxic. She's very toxic. Like I could argue that she's one of the like probably top 3 toxic characters in this whole show, because she does a lot of stuff that turns her toxic. So what you find out about her is how she met Hanabi is through, like, on the train she was getting groped by some old pervy old man, and Hanabi saves her, and from that moment Sanae starts to like Hanabi, and they become best friends once they come into school. So there's one point in the anime where you find out that Moogie and Hanabi are dating, and then Sanae finds that out too, and she gets upset about that, and then she starts trying to hang out with Hanabi more, and she hangs out with Hanabi, and then this is where she first takes advantage of Hanabi, because she realizes that Hanabi actually likes somebody else, and that she's actually sad on the inside. So Sanae takes advantage of her, starts kissing her, does stuff, and they do stuff and all of that. So this goes on. So each time Hanabi's feeling alone, you see Sanae just come and just want to just like take her advantage of her, because she knows that Hanabi won't like push her away and tell her stop, because she knows that she values her friendship so much, and like it's really special to her, so she's not going to do it to stop him. So like that right in there is very toxic, because Hanabi's not trying to say, no, I don't feel the same way as you, because she wants to keep the relationship, while Sanae just wants to literally take advantage of her and push all her feelings on her. And this just becomes very, very, very toxic, because it's like because you shouldn't be mixing up friendships and feelings, especially if you just can't tell somebody, no, I'm not into you, or just like tell them, no, we'll never be together, something like that. So it just becomes toxic until like it finally ends at the very end. But still, it's like, wow, like it's crazy. Like that's very, very toxic, because they could have just stopped that. They could have just stayed friends. But Hanabi, because also Hanabi is a instigator too, because she wants Sanae to do it, because like Hanabi tries to fake like she has friends because she doesn't want to feel alone. So like it's very toxic. Like I'm telling you this, bro, Moogie and Hanabi are so toxic. But Sanae, I don't know, she might be top 4, but she's still toxic, bro, very toxic. So they both continue to like use each other, because they both are using each other. And like she does understand like how this would ruin their friendship, but she just wants to keep it taking advantage of Hanabi's weakness. And like I was saying, Hanabi also is doing this because she like wants to not feel lonely. So it's like it's one of those just back and forth. And with Sanae, the reason why I feel like Sanae is really toxic and where it honestly came from like old men groping her, and her having this distaste for men. Because like she's been around all these men, or just like even on the train. I mean, I don't know if she's been around, but I can just say maybe she has before on the train, and men have done that to her. And she's just like felt a type of way and like despises men and hates men, even though like it shows that she doesn't hate her cousin that's a man. But I'm pretty sure she hates most men because of what, like being groped and all that, sexual assault, all that has caused her like just trauma, not to like men. Even though she's fine around like her cousin and all that, but it's just like with Hanabi saving her and being her knight in shining armor, as you could say, that causes Sanae to like her even more and want to be closer to her, and that's what really drives her, all her feelings, and wanting to be with Hanabi. And it's just like, bro, toxic. It really is. I mean, but we're getting more, trust me, we're about to go to some more, because a lot of these characters are toxic, like very toxic. All right, we got the next one. The next person I want to talk about is, so it's the guy that Hanabi likes, and it's her brother figure and all that, but trust me, bro, he's a super simp. I'll tell you why he's a simp. So let's talk about Narumi, bro. He's a big ass simp, and I mean big ass simp. So there's one point in the anime, bro, so he's so in love with Akane that he asks her to marry him. And it's just like, bro, what Akane says next is some wild ass shit, bro. She literally says, I will continue to cheat on you with other men, because, you know, like I was saying, Akane likes to have sex with other men, and that's why she's never been in no serious relationship. He literally says like, yo, I'll accept that, and you can do that, and he understands. I'm like, bro, no. I'm like, bro, you can't be this blinded by love that you just want to be like, yo, I'm okay with you getting smashed other week, by other men and all that. And it's just like, bro, it's wild. It's wild. But I mean, I don't know if she does. I don't even know. Is there a manga to this? I think there's a manga to this. I have to peep it and see. Like, I'll have to see if the anime was how the manga ended, because the manga probably has more. But yeah, that was some very toxic ass shit, because I'm like, bro, how you just gonna agree to that? I know you understand her and like you see how she is for what she is and that, and like you tell her that it's okay to be the way she is, but still, bruh, that's some simp ass shit. You just gonna let her get raw dogged by so many different men? Crazy. And he was the only person who was okay with Hanabi doing all the stuff that what she does. He tells her that it's okay that she sleeps around with a lot of men. And the only reason why he had sex with her is because Akane got him drunk. So yeah, you see Akane takes advantage of him. And also, like I was saying, he's blinded by love, and he's also kind of blinded by this memory of his mom that they keep showing in the show. And like, I find this kind of weird. Like, it's the only reason why he wants to marry her and be with her is because it reminds him of his mom. But at the same time, I gotta remember that his mom died when he was super young, so maybe it was just like an image of a motherly figure that he needed in his life or something, and just reminded him of just a thing. But yeah, he's still toxic. He's very toxic, bro. Like, you can't be this blinded by love that you're just like, yo, I'll let you get smashed by all these other people. But still, I mean, he's the only one that accepts her. So out of everybody in the show, he's the least toxic. But still, I was just like, when I first saw that, I was like, wow. I was like, bro, you wildin'. I was like, you tripping, big homie. I'm like, bro, I ain't about to let my wife get raw dogged by like 10, 15 men each week. Because, you know, Akane was getting down, bro. She was getting down. But yeah, Narumi is wildin'. I don't know why Hanabi liked him so much, but hey, wildin'. So let's get to a very toxic person, Moogie. So Moogie is the main character. That's a boy, and it's like, out of all the characters in the show, Moogie has a reason why he was toxic. In middle school, bro, he was one of them nice looking boys that was just like polite and all that. Cause like, if you'll see a difference, cause like when he's in middle school, he has like all the happy eyes and all that, and like you see him in high school now, and he's all just like, he looked like he'd been through some shit, like he'd been struggling. So how he becomes toxic is this girl, his upperclassman named May, who's known to get around. She got some big something, you know, she's sitting right. She starts to have sex with him and take advantage of him because she understands that, because like she found him attractive, and plus she understands that he likes his tutor, which is Akane, and knows that he can't ever get with her. So they start going on and off throughout like all their middle school until she graduates, because she's not going to high school or whatever, and he was just middle school, and that was it. But yeah, and that's why he becomes toxic, and then he just feels like it's okay to be toxic, and that's how he learns in high school that it's okay just to get with somebody just because you don't want to feel alone, because that's how he feels. And he also really hides his feelings, because he honestly did like Mai, and he just didn't tell her, and that's what leads him to become toxic in the way he is and still love Akane and all that. And bro, trust me, that's some toxic ass shit right then and there. Cause it's like, bro, because May was so toxic with him, basically teaching him that it's okay just to have sex to feel not lonely. And then he just finds it okay. So then he tells Hanabi about it. And then that's how their toxic relationship comes. It's just like, bro, no, you should have learned from middle school. Moogie, you should have. So he finds out that Hanabi likes Narumi. And then he also says that like he also likes Akane, and they somehow connect through that way. And then that's how they make this fake relationship, and they get in a relationship just because they both were lonely. And like, this is where like the real stuff, toxic stuff happens, because like Moogie honestly is just using Hanabi at the time, and they're both using each other because they both are imagining that they're with the person they want to be with. And like, this is very, very toxic, because why should they be imagining that they're with somebody else when they're already in this relationship? And like, the relationship is built off of because they can't get with the people they want to get with. And that's just like, bro, that's toxic. Like, that's very toxic. Like, why are they so toxic with that? How did they not understand that's toxic? Because like, there's one scene where Hanabi and Moogie are kissing, and Hanabi's visualizing him as Narumi, and then also there's a scene when Moogie's visualizing her as Akane, and it's just like, bro, come on, how toxic can y'all get? Like, damn. So like, one of the things how you can tell the relationship was all toxic, because Moogie starts to get feelings, like actual feelings for Hanabi, but he never like admits them, and he ends up pushing her away, and this causes him to go with May again and have sex with her just because he was feeling lonely. And it's like, bro, if you just didn't push her away, you could have been with her. And then also there's his childhood friend called Mocha, and they go on a date because like he just can't tell her no, that they're never going to be together. And then like it gets into this awkward scene after the date where they almost have sex and all of that, and he ends up like pushing her away too because he doesn't want to ruin his image of her, because he thinks that she's pure okay. He just feels that type of way, and I'm like, wow, because he doesn't want to ruin his image of her, and he doesn't want to just like do all this out of like not loving her and doing that. So like that shows that, yeah, he at least has some type of morals, but still you don't really have that high morals with all this toxic, because like there's so much toxic, bro. There's like 3 different women he's with. He even starts to be with Akane, even though he knows that Akane is just using him, and he's just doing it that he can feel some type of way because he's finally with the person that he likes, even though he knows that she doesn't really care for him. Because he even asks her, like, yo, we can run away together, and she's like, no, while she's literally with Narumi, bro, and about to get married. Then he finds out she's getting married and that, and yeah, and him and Hanabi don't talk to the very end. It's just like, bro, it's nuts. So like the reason why I think Moogie was so toxic is mainly because he was, I guess you could say, he was used by May, the upperclassman, and forced to have this sexual relationship just because he was feeling lonely, and he suffered just from being lonely and also being used by upperclassmen, and just like not knowing how to express himself and say when he likes somebody and when he doesn't. And also he was so in love with his tutor Akane that he just felt like it was okay just to be abused, kind of, because he was basically mentally abused. And you kind of, I don't know if you would really say sexual, but kind of you could say that, because it was kind of like it was forced. Because like from the show, it doesn't really look like he wanted to with May at first or continue it until like he finally did. And when she's leaving, you could tell that he wanted to honestly tell her that he liked her, but he just didn't. And it's just like, come on, man, you can't just be like that, dog. You need to just express yourself. But still, he suffers from being that toxic, but he really does get toxic. Trust me, bro. Like I said in my one video, this show is about how to build a hoe. And toxicity, a lot of toxicity, so much toxicity. So Hanabi's the second most toxic person in the show, because she goes through a whole arc of how toxic she is, bro. Like, trust me, bro. Like, she goes through this whole arc of different stuff just because Narumi doesn't like her, so she agrees to this relationship with Moogie. And bro, and then they get to that imagine and stuff, and I'm just like, bro, why are they imagining this? Like, do they not understand how toxic that is? They should have just focused on each other. Like, if you're getting in this relationship already, the relationship already was a fluke, but it's like, bro, why are you getting in this relationship just to imagine? And that's making it even worse. Y'all should have just focused on each other and see if each other can like have something together. And I mean, that does backfire on them, mainly because they both catch feelings, but they both push each other away, and they can't even express them feelings. And it's just like, look what happened when y'all should have just did this from the start instead of just acting like their relationship, bro. Their whole relationship, bro, just pisses me off because how toxic it is, bro. Super toxic. So her and Moogie developed this codependency relationship, because I know codependency is usually when one person needs each other, but it kind of is both of them needed each other at the same time. But it's like, it's one of those. I couldn't think of nothing else to put, because it kind of is codependency. And like they both need each other, that they don't feel lonely. And like also when Akane sees that Hanabi likes Narumi, she starts to take him away from her, and this causes Hanabi to think that she needs to be like Akane because they are the same. And it's like weird, because like I don't know why Hanabi was thinking that she needed the attention from men just because she sees that Akane does. So this causes her to just think like, yo, I need to be just like Akane and play with men's emotions and their hearts and their feelings and all that, just because I want to get some special attention. And that kind of backfires on her, because so this is this guy that when you first see Akane out, she's out with this old student of hers too, that was like an old person she tutored that's in college. And Hanabi ends up eventually seeing her one day and he's like, oh hey, I remember you. And she over here plays with him and act like that she can remember, because she thinks she can play with his heart, when honestly all he wants is just sex from her. And that's when she discovers that she can't be like Akane, because she honestly doesn't want to have sex, because she's scared to have sex, and she doesn't want to do that with anybody, because she's even scared with Moogie. So she sees that, yo, I can't be like Akane. Akane is different. I don't want to be that toxic, but she wants the attention from men that Akane gets, but she just doesn't want to go all the way because she's scared and doesn't want to be like that, because she still has some values to her. So at the same time, she still uses Sanae because she knows that Sanae likes her, so she wants to like take advantage of her. And it's just like, why do you want to take advantage of your best friend just because you're feeling lonely? And it's like, why? And like she lets it go on for a long time, where even she tries to express like she has feelings for Sanae, but she really knows that she doesn't. And that's some toxic shit, because it's like, bro, because then she's being very selfish as she's being very selfish as still wanting Sanae's friendship, but she also doesn't want to lose her, so she'll let Sanae keep taking advantage of her. And then like she blames herself for that, when literally it's like it's kind of both of them. But it's just like, bro, that's very toxic there. And it's like, Hanabi could have just stopped that by just saying, no, I don't want to do this. You're my best friend. I don't want to lose you because we start doing all this stuff together and I allow you to take advantage of me and all this. And it could have all been stopped if she just said no, but she doesn't. And Hanabi realizes that the reason why she's always scared is because she wasn't ready. And she knows that this isn't what she wants when it comes to like sexual type of stuff, I guess. And Hanabi got into this toxic relationship because she was lonely and didn't know how to take rejection. Like, that's the big thing. She didn't know what rejection would do to her, and she was scared of rejection. And she was pressured by Akane to become like her because of what Akane was doing. So just like Moogie, she realized that she actually liked Moogie, but it was too late when she actually realized that she did. No, the reason why I feel like Hanabi got toxic was because she was, one, scared of being lonely, scared of rejection, and also she just didn't know how to express herself, and she just didn't know how to really just be like no. And she was honestly just scared of everything because it was just the loneliness and like being rejected by her brother who's always been there. Because one, she doesn't have a father, she just has a mother, so she never had that figure in her. And Narumi was her big brother figure, so she was scared of losing him to somebody else. And like, she honestly just needed that figure in her life, and she wanted to be with somebody, but she honestly couldn't. But yeah, she goes through a whole arc of how toxic she is, bro. So the last person is probably the person that's not even that toxic. And like, she is toxic, but she's not that toxic at all. So I'm talking about Mocha, who is Moogie's best friend. Or I guess you could say best friend / childhood friend, because they're still friends. But yeah. So she's always seen Moogie as a prince and seen herself as a princess ever since they were little. But like I was saying, she's not really that toxic. But how she becomes toxic is because she views Moogie as the prince, as I was saying, and like, she doesn't view him as he actually is. She doesn't see what type of person he is, just always envision him as still being the prince from childhood, and feels like he always is going to be with her. And like, she's blinded by her love, and like, her feelings blind her for what Moogie truly is. So when they finally go on a date, she convinces herself that this date will help her, even though she realizes that this date won't help her and that Moogie would never love her, but still she tries to convince herself. So there's even the scene like when they're going to have sex and all of that, and Moogie's getting closer and closer, that she realizes in that moment when Moogie, like even as I was saying earlier, like how Moogie was realizing how he didn't want to mess up her image of Mocha. At this moment, this is where Mocha realizes that Moogie would never love her because Moogie won't go all the way, even though there was her being scared. And I'm pretty sure she did say no. Did she say no? No, never mind. That was Hanabi that said no. Mocha was just realized that Moogie couldn't go all the way because he didn't ruin her image, and also realized that he would never love her. And it's just like, yeah. And I mean, like, she's the only character in this whole show that has like real growth, because she wasn't scared of voice. She was the only person that really admitted that she actually liked someone. Besides Narumi, when like he proposes and all that and wants to get married to Akane. Besides him, she's the only one that wasn't scared of her feelings. She tells Moogie that she loves him. And she just wanted, and like, she's ready to move on. Because like, when they do the culture festival, like, she's looking all elegant and nice because she got everything off her chest, that she didn't have to be toxic and all that. She was just, the only reason why I say she was toxic is just because she was blinded by love about Moogie and the way she felt to Moogie. That was the only thing. But she honestly wasn't toxic like everybody else, because everybody else, trust me, was toxic. Like I've said already, they're very toxic. So this anime is the embodiment of unrequited love. Like, this shows us how toxic that can be, and how toxic relationships honestly can be when you form them out of ill will. And trust me, bro, you don't want to get in no toxic relationship like this, because this is very bad for our mental health. It's very bad for our mental health, because like, this can cause us stress and all this, just not being able to be with somebody that you actually want to be with, but then you force yourself into a relationship with somebody you really don't want to be with, and you do this very toxic thing of imagining you're with the person that you actually want to be with. Like, that's very toxic. And like, they've honestly had a lot of mental stuff. Like, bro, they're hurting their mental health all crazy in this anime. And like, it's a good thing to just teaches us, like, don't get in relationships that you don't need to get in, especially out of ill will. Like, bad intentions, they never going to work out, because something's going to happen and you're going to see how toxic it becomes. And also, if you like somebody and you know that person doesn't like you back, don't go crazy into it, because you don't want to go crazy. Just like, you got to understand, like, if you know they don't like you back, just take that as rejection. You don't need to focus on it and be stuck on that. That's what this anime honestly teaches us. Don't be stuck on somebody that doesn't like you. Move on in life. You don't need to be stuck here. That's how they end the anime, where they move on in life, because they finally realize, yo, I'm not gonna get with this person because it's toxic. Especially like Hanabi and Moogie, they realize at the end how toxic the relationship actually was, and that one day they're gonna look for somebody they actually want to be with and actually have a real relationship and not be stuck on somebody and then get into some toxic, crazy relationship. And also, like, being alone can really take a toll on somebody, and you see how this show does that, how they're alone for so long because they liked somebody else that they couldn't be with, and when they finally got together, they felt some type of like comfort because they were together. And it's just like, yeah, that was very toxic because of the reason why they did it. If they would have went into the relationship just because they're like, yo, they liked each other, that would have been different, but they didn't. Because you see, Hanabi even gets somebody that actually likes her, and she even comments about how much courage it actually took to do that, and she wished she could be like him because she couldn't do that. But yeah, woo! Scum Wish, bro. Very toxic, but it's a good anime. So many toxic relationships. Like, all that toxicity is crazy, bro. This anime could be a toxic Pokemon, and it could be a poison type Pokemon, I should say. It could be Muck. That's how toxic this is. Like, any poison type would thrive in this anime because how toxic they are. But yeah, this anime really teaches you a lot. Just know, if you're out there, bro, just know that if you like somebody and you know that person does not like you, do not turn into some toxic thing, bro. Just move on, or just tell them that you like them, that they can either reject you or say yes. It's the worst thing they can say is yes or no, but I know they could call you some ugly ass nigga, but hey, I would hate that too. Tell a girl you like her and then she say, you just an ugly ass nigga. That shit, I would hate that too. But yeah, just know, don't let none of this toxic stuff happen. Don't get into a relationship with somebody out of ill intentions. Get with them because you actually like them and want to be with them. Don't ever do no toxic stuff like Hanabi and Moogie, because that was very toxic. But yeah, watch this anime. If you've not seen it, check it out, bro, because it's really good. Besides all the toxic stuff, even though the toxic stuff adds to it. And remember, Akane is a big asshole, bro. She was popping it left and right, throwing that shit all over. And Narumi was still like, yeah, hey, I'll still get with you, even though, hey, she was getting gang banged on a Friday. I'm just let me stop. So if you enjoyed the video, like. If you didn't enjoy, you can always dislike. Subscribe if you really enjoyed. Check out some of my other videos on the channel. And yeah, bro, this video was a doozy, bro, because how toxic everybody was. Just remember, at the end of the day, don't get into toxic relationships. And if you're in a toxic relationship, leave it. You don't need to be in that. Don't ever get no toxic. It's bad for your mental health. But yeah, watch Scum Wish. I'm telling you, watch it. But yeah, woo! We're done with all this toxic stuff. Yes. But hey, I'm gonna thank you for watching this very interesting video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.